amongst welfare recipients, some people asked whether politicians would be prepared to hold to the same standard. Next year, the government plans to trial drug tests on 5,000 welfare recipients, threatening restrictions on their payments if they test positive. Today, a Liberal Party backbencher arranged for toxicologists to visit Parliament House to drug test willing politicians. And tonight, 7:30 can reveal that at least one state Labor government will refuse to cooperate with the scheme if it goes ahead. Julia Holman reports.
All right, thanks guys. What have you got to show us?
We have an array of different technologies here, both urine and oral fluid.
These MPs reckon Australia's got a big problem.
That's the real input. It's that intervention that you need to.
We want to help everyone be the best they can be.
I think that this will be the positive difference that a lot of people will need in their lives in order to give them that intervention they need to get themselves on a pathway. But
Liberal backbencher Andrew Laming has been lobbying for years to drug test people on welfare. Fellow Coalition MPs Luke Howarth and Ben Morton agree it's a good idea.
And the actual opportunity to intervene is very, very small and short. So in many cases you need this change where you know that ultimately you're going to face a test if you don't change your behaviour, and you have to create...
Today, Andrew Laming has organised drug tests for any MP who's game.
Righto, Lamo, you're first up, mate.
Sounds good. All right, we'll see you guys in about 5 minutes.
The government says its plan to test 5,000 people on youth allowance and New Start for marijuana, ecstasy and ice is aimed at getting help for those people with drug addiction. In Logan, just south of Brisbane, the idea has its supporters.
I think it might be a good idea, actually. Yep, everyone around here is virtually on drugs. I don't do it, no.
Do you think there'd be a lot of people here who would be on drugs and also on welfare?
Yeah, probably most of them, actually.
Anyone who tests positive will be forced onto the cashless welfare card, meaning their welfare payments can only be used on essentials such as groceries and rent. Testing positive a second time could mean you're referred for treatment.
Well, it would help not only the people but the children. The money will go on the right thing instead of the wrong thing. I've got 5 kids myself, so my money goes on the food and the rent and the bills, not the drugs. Yeah. Maybe a pack of smokes, but not the drugs.
In Logan, the unemployment level is close to the national average at 5.8%. Youth unemployment is almost 13%.
Logan does have a lot to offer, and it's not all scary.
I was really surprised. I've not moved to the slum. I've moved to this really diverse neighbourhood that has so much to offer.
But here in Logan, there are pockets of entrenched poverty. 69% of people on welfare here have been on the dole for more than a year.
It's going to be hard to break that cycle, but you're not going to break it in this generation either. You're going to have to, it's something that I think you're going to have to hack away at.
The government wants quick fixes.
It's not also that person, it's their children, so their children might be missing out.
Those who've experienced addiction say the government's plan won't work.
I used to be like the biggest junkie, I think. But it's alright because I've kind of learned from that.
20-year-old Margaret is a former ice addict who was recently released from prison. And when you were using, do you think that the government's saying, stop taking drugs or we'll cut your Centrelink, would that have actually done anything?
No, to be honest, no, not at that time.
Young people are tending to take drug and alcohol because of trauma. They can't get a job or they've got other problems in their life. Well, we do things that the young people tell us that they like, which is hip-hop dancing, music therapy programs.
Social worker Russell Workman has spent 15 years working with young people, many on welfare and some dealing with drug addiction.
The government's approach to this is simplistic. If it was that easy, we'd probably have done it a long time ago. The reality is, when young people are on drug and alcohol, if you take away their source of incomes, they're likely to try and take desperate measures.
The government hasn't announced where the 3 trial sites will be, but one state is already saying it wants nothing to do with the plan.
Well, it simply won't work. and it's cheap populist nonsense designed to create a smokescreen as to what really drives disadvantage.
The Victorian government has revealed to 7:30 that it won't cooperate with the drug testing trial.
We've made it clear to the federal government at 2 ministerial councils that we're not interested in being part of this scam, because all it will do was create even more demand for services that are already stretched, that are already under pressure from Commonwealth cuts, and we won't have a bar of it. But if the Commonwealth government wants to go out and demonise people and pretend that they're doing good work in this space, let them do it somewhere else, because all it will do in Melbourne and Victoria is drive more people into disadvantage.
Ultimately, what we want is a job-ready unemployed group, not one that's unable to work because of drug addiction. So the simple element of a test gives us the information we never had, and doing a trial tells us about this technology and how it works in the real world.
What is being proposed is not an effective way of detecting people who might require treatment.
It's not just Victoria objecting to the drug test plan. The clinical director of the Drug and Alcohol Service at Sydney St Vincent's Hospital is urging the government to reconsider.
What it can do is actually make people's social circumstances even more precarious and perhaps tip people into more dangerous ways of living and even more criminal ways of living if they can't support themselves.
No one's saying it's a magic wand, are they? But what we're saying is that if you know that there's going to be a test in the coming days, we would expect that people would change their behaviour as they have in the workplace. Okay, all done?
Back at Parliament House, the drug test results are in.
This one's all clear.
All clear. So red means all clear?
Red means all clear.
Right.
It's a negative test, and we'll give you the paperwork to say.
There you go, we're clear. 2 down. What have we got? 148 to go. A plus senators.
These MPs might be clean, but drug tester Andrew Levy reckons a random test of all MPs would produce some interesting results.
You do it on the spot, do you?
I have no idea what the positive rate would be in Parliament, but the answer is that we would find some people would test positive if we had a large enough sample, because that's been our position in any workplace.
Right, so you're getting a whole series of lines where you are clear.
Andrew Laming is doing a stunt. To me, that is not random. He's already organised this, so he's had enough time to clean himself up, even if he was taking drugs. So I think it's a bit of a circus myself.
Senator Jackie Lambie supports in principle drug testing of welfare recipients, but she wants mandatory drug testing for all politicians as well.
So when I walk in here and they say, you are going to lick the stick, then that's exactly what I'm going to be doing, and everybody else behind me that's on that random list. What, politicians and public servants don't take drugs? Rubbish.
In Logan, it's feared the drug trial could backfire.
I think there'll be a lot of dramas in Centrelink. Police and everyone will be there because they're just going to go off. I think they'll just start going off.
During the past 2 decades, the number of Australians aged over 85 has more than doubled.